morning, students. Now, the previous video we saw all the difficult words about the author. Now we are going to see the characters of this lesson. The first character that we come across is Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes is the detective or the protagonist of the story. Then Dr. Watson, who is a medical practitioner, a general medical practitioner, I had already told you, and he was also Holmes' assistant. Then we come across another character, Mrs. Hudson. She was the landlady of Holmes. The place where Holmes was living, that place was belonging to Mrs. Hudson. Then we come across Sir Japper Meek, Mr. Penrose Fisher, Dr. Ainstree. Now all these doctors don't take active participation in the story, but they are just mentioned by Mr. Watson. They are all specialists in medicine. Then we come across Mr. Culverton Smith, who is a planter in Sumatra. And planter here doesn't mean an ordinary farmer who is the owner of a plantation. Plantation is usually this coffee, rubber, tea, all these type of plants that they are not harvested. These are called as plantation crops. And he had a plantation at Sumatra. Sumatra is a place in the Indonesian islands. It's an island. And we come across another character, Inspector Morton. He was a police in Scotland Yard. That is a very famous police in England. Butler. Butler is usually a person who opens the doors and closes the doors, and also is like an assistant to a person. And here he was a butler to Mr. Culverton Smith. Then last we come across Victor Savage. Victor Savage was Mr. Culverton Smith's nephew. So these are the main characters that we are going to come across in this lesson. So now we will go to the plot, that is the whole story. Now we already saw the dying detective. Here the dying detective, you should understand that the main person, that is Sherlock Holmes, is nearly dying here. Now what is the story like? So let's see. Now there is, just picture out, this is a novel, and a novel is usually in the narrative form. You will find them in dialogue forms, and it will be usually in the first person, or it will be talking to each other. So here if you see this Mrs. Hudson, picture Mrs. Hudson, that is the landlady of the detective. She suddenly comes rushing to Mr. Watson's place, that is the assistant of Holmes. Suddenly she sees him, he sees her coming rushing towards him, and she is in full of, he is all full of tears and running around and all that. And she was so upset because this Holmes had not eaten or he had not drank water for 3 days consecutively. And imagine for 3 days continuously, if you don't drink or eat, what will happen to your physical health? You will be nearly dying. And he was also sick, he had high fever, and he did not want any doctors to come and treat him. And this is what made the landlady very upset, because he did not agree to see any doctor. And so at the end, on the 3rd day, because Mrs. Hudson was going on pestering or pleading and going on pushing, so what happened? He agreed to see Watson. So this lady ran to Dr. Watson to call him, because this was the last straw. That is, at last she agreed to see at least one doctor to treat him. So she was very happy. She rushed to see Watson. And here if you see, Watson was asking her, what was the reason? So usually, since Watson and Holmes are always together, anything and everything will be shared between them. But here for 3 days, Watson had not known that he was suffering from high fever. And so he was shocked to know that he was sick, because this was something new to him. And when Hudson told, he was very shocked, and immediately he left his house. And on the way to Holmes' house, he asked Mrs. Hudson what really the matter was. And then she said that he had gone to find the case, because since he was a detective, he was always working on cases. And this was one of the cases. And here when he found, it was a place at Rotherhithe. A place at Rotherhithe, there was a river. And on the banks of the river, he had gone. And they say that something must have happened there, because after returning from Rotherhithe, working on a particular case, he became very sick. And from then on, he never left his room. And he never ate anything or drank anything. So this made Watson even more shocking. He didn't understand. Then this was on a Wednesday. This took place on a Wednesday. And from Wednesday, third day, still he had not taken anything. And at last, our Watson enters into Holmes' room. And once he came to Holmes' room, he was shocked to see the gloominess of the room. Here if you see, it was very foggy. When I taught you about this word foggy, that meant it was, it was little dark, gloomy looking and very mystical, and he couldn't see clearly in the room because it was all closed. And in one far corner he saw a bed, and on the bed he saw Sherlock Holmes lying down, and his face was thin. It was all as if the cheeks were sunken inside, and this made, he felt very, very upset, and it sent a chill to his heart. That means what? He thought that he was going to lose Holmes, lose in the sense that he was going to lose his friend, that his friend was dying. And it was like as if a chill grip had caught into his heart, round his heart. So, and then he saw the physique of Holmes. If you had noticed, he had a feverish eye. When you are suffering from high fever, your eyes become red, watery and tired looking. And all his cheeks were all flushed, red and hot. And all his hands, all his fingers were all twitching. That is shaking. He couldn't stop it. And he was so weak and frail. He had no energy in his system. And Holmes called him. He called him close to him. But then he said not to come too close to him, because he said he was suffering from a disease which he had contracted. And this disease was very famous in Sumatra. And Sumatra now is from the Indonesian islands, one of the island, and this island belongs to the eastern continent, that is Asian continent. We are all the eastern countries. So Sumatra is an eastern country, and this particular disease that he has got was from Sumatra, and this was an eastern disease. And he told him not to come too close to him, because this disease was very contagious. Contagious is, even if you touch him, you will get the disease. And so he ordered him, in fact he commanded him not to come anywhere close to him or touch him. And as a doctor, Watson, you know what doctors do. They touch you, they find out what is wrong with you, they are not bothered about all that. But so, to stop this, Holmes had asked him not to come anywhere near him. And immediately what Watson thought was, since he was a general practitioner, maybe this particular eastern disease was a special kind of disease, only specialists can see to it. So what he did, he started calling out, naming out some doctors who were specialists in this. That is Sir Japper Meek and Mr. Penrose Fisher. These were all specialists in medicine. So he just told the names of these doctors. He said, since I am a general practitioner, I cannot treat you. Maybe these people who are specialists surely can treat you. So he immediately starts telling him all these names. Immediately what happens? Holmes gets very angry and he says, see, I know what type of illness I have. Then only he says that he was suffering from a type of illness that is called as Tarponley fever, or it has another name. It is also called as the Black Formosa plague. That is the name of the illness that Holmes was suffering from. And Tadpolny fever, or another name which was Black Formosa plague. And I already told you, this is a very contagious disease. Contagious means it's very communicable, easily got, and people will surely die of this disease. So he stopped him. And when specialists were opted for him, he said no. He said, no, I am not, if I called you because Mrs. Hudson was going on pestering me. And if you are going to call any of the specialists, he said that he will not even allow Watson to look after him. So immediately Watson stopped. Then he said, but he asked Holmes, okay, suppose not these two doctors, there is another very friendly doctor that I know especially who will not leak out anything, Dr. Ainstree. Why not I call Dr. Ainstree? And he started running towards the door. Before Holmes could say anything, he thought of going out and calling this doctor. But then, the moment he went to the door, immediately he saw somebody shouting and coming behind him, and that was nobody but Holmes, who came, jumped out of his bed, ran before him and bolted the door. And I already told you when I told you about the difficult words, where bolting of the door was not easy as we do today. Those days they used to have a huge bar, and on the hinges they had to put it. And all that he was able to do, and he did it. And in his anger he did it, and he went back to his bed. And he told him, you are not supposed to call any doctor, nor are you allowed to treat me. And also he went, closed the door, and he asked him to wait. And he asked him to wait till 6 o'clock in the evening. And at that time when he spoke to Watson, it was 4 o'clock. It was 4 o'clock, and he asked him to wait. So the stipulated time was 6 o'clock. So he asked him to wait up to 6 o'clock, and till then he had to wait in Holmes' room. He was not allowed to leave that place. And for 2 hours, Dr. Watson did not know what to do. So he started roaming around the room, went round looking at all the pictures. He started looking at the mantelpiece. Mantelpiece, I had already told you, is a fireplace where there is a frame and there are things, you can keep things on the frame. And he just went through all the things that were arranged on the mantelpiece. As he was watching, he was looking at all the beautiful things there. Then he suddenly saw that there was a box, a black and white box, and this box was it was made of ivory, and he tried to open it and close it. But the moment he came near there, immediately Holmes shouted at him. He told him not to touch it. And usually Holmes is, since they are friends, more like assistant and all, he never used to command Watson in any way. But this time Watson was very upset because Holmes was always shouting at him, just screaming in fact. And so he was very upset. He felt dejected, low spirited. Why is Holmes treating me so badly? And so what happened? And the way he commanded, he told him, see, don't touch anything. I don't like anyone touching any of my things. And he told him to go sit in his place quietly and keep quiet. And since he was sick and he wanted to take rest, not to disturb him. And our Watson, what happened? He was very dejected, very upset by the way Holmes treated him, the way he commanded him. So he just went and he sat quietly. And as he was waiting, and during the time, say around 5:50 or so, suddenly Holmes asked him whether he had any money with him. That is, if he had any changes with him. So immediately Watson said, yes, he had some half a crown. So immediately he said, where is it? Where have you kept that money? So he says that he has kept it in his pocket. Then he says, no, take it and keep it in your watch pocket. I already told you what a watch pocket was. That is the pocket where those days, instead of wearing wristwatches, they used to keep the watch in the pocket. And so this Watson didn't understand, but whatever Holmes told him, he did it. He kept the money in the watch pocket. Then Holmes asked him to light the gas lamp. I told you what a gas lamp was. It is usually the combustion of gas, and it can be, what to say, increased or decreased. The flame can be increased or decreased. And so here, if you notice, he asked him to light it. And after lighting it, he told him to put it in half flame. Half flame here means not very bright. He wanted the room to look a little gloomy, dark, half dark. He didn't want a bright room. Then he asked him to place some letters and papers on a table which was close to his bed. So he kept the letters and the papers, all that he had told him to keep, he kept it near the bed, because since Holmes was not well, he wouldn't have been able to get up, so naturally for him to be able to reach it out. And so then he asked him to take the ivory box and place it on the table, and to slide the lid a little open, and this he asked him to do it with tongs. I told you in the previous class, tongs means a type of instrument that is used to pick up something. And so with the help of the tongs, he slowly slided it a little and kept the tong close by. And after all this instruction, he asked Watson to go to Mr. Culverton Smith's place, and he gave him the address of Mr. Culverton Smith, where he was staying. That was at a place, address was 13 Lower Burke Street. 13 Lower Burke Street. He was staying there. So he told him to go call Mr. Culverton Smith from this address, and he told him that he has to tell him that in fact he has to persuade him, plead with him till he agrees to come and see him. And here he says he is the only person who knows about this eastern disease, this tarpaulin fever that he is suffering from, and he is the only person who can treat him. And so what happened? Immediately, and also he says to him that if don't wait for Culverton Smith to come with him, you leave him there and you return before Mr. Culverton Smith comes, and that he has to come before him and meet him then. Then afterwards only Smith should come. So this was the plan. So till now I hope you have understood the plan. First thing is you find the dying detective, then you see Mrs. Hudson coming and informing Watson, then Watson running to Sherlock Holmes, and he sees a very sick Holmes there. Then afterwards he doesn't want Watson to treat him, and he doesn't want any other specialists to treat him, and he gets very angry with Watson because the moment he runs out to catch the doctor, he bolts and he immediately closes the door and asks him to stay for another 2 hours quiet in his room. And when he was starting to rummage into all the things, he got very angry, told him not to touch anything. And after 2 hours, then he himself asked him what was the amount that he had. Then he told him to put it in the watch pocket. Then he asked him to place the papers and important box, the tongs, the letters, everything on the table which was placed on the side of the bed. And he asked him to go fetch Culverton Smith, who was residing in this address, that is 13 Lower Burke Street. And he told him to ask him to come and see him, because he was the only one who knew about the illness and he was the only one who could treat him. And to return before Culverton Smith came. So before he could come, Watson should arrive into Holmes' place. So with this, and he told to tell any excuse for that matter to Culverton Smith and come out. So Watson went out with all these instructions. He finished everything. He went out to bring Culverton Smith. On the way, he met Mrs. Hudson, who was still crying, because that poor lady did not know what was happening to Holmes, because her thoughts were that Holmes was going to die. And Mr. Morton, that is the inspector, he was also standing outside, but he was not in his uniform. He was in his ordinary civilian dress. We call them as mufti, isn't it? Ordinary civilian dress, but he was a police from the Scotland Yard. Then, this Watson went to this address 13 Lower Burke Street, and then there when he went inside, before, as he was talking to the butler, butler was the one who was standing in front of the room of Mr. Culverton Smith's office. As he was talking to the butler, before the butler could answer where Culverton Smith was, from the room, the door was a little open. And through the opening, he could hear Mr. Culverton Smith ordering the butler to inform the person who was talking to him that he was not there. He was not at home. So immediately, Watson came to know that Culverton Smith was there. He pushed past the butler and opened the door and entered the room. After entering the room, he saw this Culverton Smith, what type of a person, physique he was. He was a person who was frail. He was weak looking, bald headed. You know what bald headed is? Without much hair. And he was there, and in the beginning he did not bother, he did not want to talk to Watson. But when he heard, Watson told him that Holmes was not feeling well, then he became alert. He was interested. The moment he told that Holmes was sick, he was very happy and alert. So immediately he asked him, what was wrong with him? Then immediately he said that I don't know, he is nearly dying, don't know what happened, and you are the only person who could treat him, so please come and see him. And not only that, you are a person who is well versed in Eastern medicine, disease medicine, so please come. And that he had got some this illness from some Chinese sailors who were passing by, and they were the ones who gave him that illness. So Culverton Smith immediately agreed. He was very happy, in fact, he agreed, and before he could start, Watson gave an excuse and he left that place and came to Holmes' house. Then once he entered Holmes' house, Holmes immediately asked him to wait in the next room and not to speak or make any noise or come out of the room till Holmes called him. So till then he was supposed to be in the room quiet. Then after some time, Culverton Smith came into Holmes' room. We already saw that Culverton Smith had already started coming. Then he reached Holmes' house and he was calling out Holmes' name as he was coming. So this shows that Culverton Smith already knows about Holmes, who he is and all that. Then Holmes, this is all what Watson could hear from the closed doors. Here if you notice, Holmes slowly in a very weak voice, because he was not strong, he was very sick, he was so weak, in a very soft voice, he told him that he was the only one in London who could cure him. And he started telling out all his symptoms. You know what symptoms are? Symptoms are signs, or like fever, body pain, then nausea, don't feel like eating, and all this. So immediately he felt, he was giving a look as if he was hopeless. There was nobody to help him. And so what he did, he went on begging him and he said all these symptoms. Immediately Smith told, yes, all the symptoms seems the same as Victor. Victor was his nephew who had died of this illness. So the same symptoms was found even in Holmes. And he said, already 3 days are over. And he found that Victor Savage, he died on the 4th day. So he told Holmes that since Victor Savage died on the 4th day, surely Holmes will be dying on the next day, because next day will be the 4th day. And even this year, Holmes was looking already half dead, because he was looking so weak and he couldn't talk, nothing, face was flushed. He was looking as if it was all his last minutes. So what happened? He said, you look already so weak. But Victor Savage, who was so healthy, young, strong, even though he died on the 4th day, he was healthy. But what about you? So indirectly he says, you may not even last the night also. So to that extent. So Holmes was now fully, dejected. He didn't know what to do because he is going to face death. And so he started begging, literally begging Culverton Smith to cure him from his illness. And since he knew it, and also Holmes now says that Victor Savage died of this illness, and surely the same illness, he says, Holmes had. So now he says, I know that you were the one who gave that illness to Victor Savage. And so he says, even though I know about it, that you were the cause for this Victor Savage's illness, I am even ready not to tell anyone. I won't tell anyone anything. I'll forget about whatever happened. So please, only thing I want you to do for me is, please help me to get well, to come out of this illness. So immediately Smith says, there is no proof. Usually a detective, when he has to tell that a crime takes place and the victims and whatever people who are all the person who killed and all that, you have to have full proof. But here he says you don't have any proof. So even if you know, it is of no use. First thing, you are going to die. Second thing, there is no proof that Culverton Smith had killed Victor Savage. So how can you say? And he never cared because his nephew is already dead. His nephew had already died because of that illness. And also he says, all was in the past. So, surely this illness, I heard that he had heard from Watson that he had contacted it from some of the Chinese travelers, sailors. But I don't think it should be from the Chinese sailors. It should have been from a box that you received on Wednesday. That is the day that he fell sick. On Wednesday. A box, if he had got any box by chance, and that came on Wednesday. So Holmes says, yes, that he had received a box on Wednesday, and it was, it came by post, and he opened it. And when he opened the box, that is the black and ivory box, that sliding box, the moment he slid the top, that is the opening, when he opened it, suddenly a type of spring sprang out from inside, and that came and injected him, and which drew some blood out of his vein. And immediately he says, but that was a joke. Usually we have these jack in the box. When we open the box, a doll will just pop out, is it not, from a spring. So he says like that. So it was like that, as if from a spring, something popped out and it came and injected him and took some blood from his body, and he says from then on he was sick. So immediately he says, but it was a joke. That is to say that he didn't contact the illness from this box. But then Smith says, no, that was not a joke. That was the same illness that Victor Savage had got. And this was the same illness that Victor Savage had got, that he had sent it to Holmes. And Holmes was also suffering, and his end was coming near. He was going to die soon. And slowly he came near the box which was kept on the table near his bed. And he came there, he took the box, put it in his pocket, and started leaving the room slowly. And that was the only proof or evidence that Holmes had to prove that Victor Savage was killed. But this, the Culverton Smith did not want this to happen. So he wanted, otherwise what is going to happen? This will be a proof to show that Holmes was also killed by Culverton Smith by the same method. So what he did, slowly he took the box, took it, put it in his pocket and started moving out of the room. near the door. He started moving towards the door. And as he was moving towards the door, immediately Holmes, in his normal voice, he just called Culverton Smith and told him to put on the flame. Now the flame, already before that Watson had asked him to put it in half flame. Now he asked him to put it in full flame, that is to light the room brighter, and then he told him to see better. So when the room was looking bright after the flame was lit fully, when the room was looking bright, immediately Holmes asked Smith to look at him. The moment he looked at Holmes, he was shocked to see him, because in the gloomy room before, Holmes was looking as if he was in the last stages. But when the light was lit very bright, he was looking very strong. Then this was a shock for Culverton Smith. So immediately what he did, he found Holmes stronger, and then only he realized that Holmes was only acting his illness. He was not really ill. And because of he had not eaten for 3 days, so naturally his body was looking weak, and he had applied certain slight makeup to show that he was very, very sick. He would have blackened the eye, around the eyes and all, to show that he was very sick. Then, as he was trying to escape from the room, he started moving towards the door with the evidence in his pocket. As he was moving towards the door, at that time, Inspector Morton, he entered the room and caught Culverton Smith, and he handcuffed him. And he said he arrested him and told him that he was arresting him on charge of Victor Savage's death, and that he was the one who murdered Victor Savage, his nephew. Then, after this only, Holmes called Watson from his room, and Watson came out. He did not know anything, whatever happened. Then at the end only, he asked him to, used him to bring Smith to his place. In fact, he didn't want to send anyone else to bring Smith to his place. So that was 3 days he was quiet. On the 3rd day, he made Mrs. Hudson call Watson, not to get treated, but to bring Smith to his house and get treated, because he knew only Smith was the person who killed Victor Savage. And to bring him, he wanted a 3rd person to do this. And all this coins and all this delirious talk that he was giving, as if he was unconscious, subconscious and all that, was simply an act to show Watson that he was sick. Because Watson could have been a person who was very innocent, who would have immediately told Culverton Smith that Holmes is all okay. So he didn't want this picture to go to Culverton Smith. So he had to show Watson that he was sick. And so all this delirious speech and the gloomy look to make him look very sick were all this. And the evidence of the murder was there. And that is why he didn't want Watson to do anything to that evidence. And at the end, both of them went to a hotel, that is the Simpson, where they usually used to eat, because now Holmes was very, very hungry, because he had not eaten for 3 days, and now he had to eat everything. Now, by now you would have understood the plot of the story. Then afterwards, what and all he did to catch this Culverton Smith, because he already knew that Victor Savage was the person who was murdered by Culverton Smith. So this is the detective story. So by now I hope you have understood. Just a recap. Now this detective Sherlock Holmes is now, his work is to find the murder of Victor Savage. He had already found the murderer, but still he wanted to prove to the world that it was his own uncle who had killed him. So what did he do? He didn't eat for 3 days, remember, and he really was looking sick. Then he called Watson through Mrs. Hudson, and he came there, did not allow them to treat him, because he feared allowed him surely Watson would have come to know that he was not sick. And so he didn't allow him. He told him that he was suffering from a very deadly disease that was called as the Tarpanley fever or the Black Formosa plague. And that he, suppose Watson touched him also, he is going to die. So immediately he asked to send some specialists, but still he avoids. He is getting very angry with him and asks him to stay in his room for 2 hours quiet. Then after the 2 hours are over, at 6 o'clock he sends Watson to Culverton Smith's place at 13 Lower Burke Street to bring him, and not to bring him along with him, but to come before him, to reach his place before him. So somehow he pleads with him and he gets his permit, he agrees, and then he comes back. Then he locks him in one of the room, and then here you see Culverton Smith, what did he do? He immediately asked the symptoms, all the symptoms and signs that Holmes was suffering from. Once he comes to know that, what does he do? Immediately he says, this is the same symptom that his nephew also suffered from. And what was the result? Death. And he says, he was such a young man, very strong man, but still he died on the 4th day. So what is going to happen to Holmes now, who is a weak old man? He is surely going to die earlier than Victor Savage. And then afterwards, if you notice, he asks him, very jokingly, he asks him whether he got a parcel where there was a box. Immediately he says yes. Holmes says yes. There was a box that he received on Wednesday, which was a sliding box. The moment he opened, there was a spring which came out and drew blood from his body, and he thought it was a joke. But then what does Culverton Smith say? He says, no, it was not a joke. That was the same symptom, the same way that Victor Savage died. And he said, surely Holmes is going to meet his death. So immediately what happens? He takes the box, the evidence, the only evidence that he has, he takes it, puts it in his pocket and starts leaving the room. But the moment he comes near the threshold, near the door, immediately there, Inspector Morton, he arrests him on charge of Victor Savage's death. That is, Culverton Smith had murdered Victor Savage. And at the end, with the evidence, with Culverton Smith, Holmes was able to arrest Culverton Smith, and at the end, he was handed over to the police. And this is how he could not escape. At the end, Culverton Smith could not escape, and he was arrested and was imprisoned, and he had to face his punishment. So with this, we come to the end of this detective story. Thank you.